Well, not yet. Well, now I can. All right. Let's go ahead and stand then. Hey, Ro, come in. Hey, Inez. Hey, Philippe. Marty here? You basically. Those of you that are logging on, we will get officially started in just a moment. And while you're coming in, I assume everybody met everybody. Please introduce yourself. Scripture says, if you want friends, you must show yourself friendly. Hey, Marty, how you doing? Come in. Hello, hello. Good to see you. All right, I think we'll get started while everybody's still coming in. Thank you so much for being here on this beautiful day. Thank you for remembering. As I told the 11:11 audience, as many times as I've announced this, Friday, for some reason, because I was thinking about us going to Helen, so I texted Ken. I said, hey, why don't we just, while there's still some leaves on the tree, why don't we just drive up to Helen and we'll spend the night and I'll just do mobile Metron from up there. He said, yeah, that's great. So I'm going online and I'm looking for a place, and then it occurs to me, no, you know that thing that you've advertised 10,000 times? That's this weekend. We can't go to Helen today. Well, I mean, we could have driven up for the day, but he was in the hospital with his brother. So, but it's all good. I'm glad you remembered. I'm glad that you were all here. We'll go ahead and run this to get officially started. Please remain standing.
Hello, and welcome to Metron. Metron means measure and sphere of influence, and we want to help you find your Metron. Through motivation, enlightenment, transcendence, renewal, outreach, and networking. We're excited to have you here today and hope you enjoy the service.
Good morning and welcome to Metron Live. Give yourselves a big hand for being here today and remembering how to get here to Landmark Midtown Art Cinema, the hippest little theater in historic Midtown Atlanta. Welcome to my neighborhood. I'm glad that you're here. Glad for all of our first-timers. Many of you, last month we were here, you met Claude, but this is his wife, Burita, and I've known them for many years. And Claude, you didn't see her, but she was up at the meditation retreat, and he was there with us, and so we're very glad. Y'all live in Columbus, right? You think you drove a long way. They drove all the way up from Columbus. So I'm glad they're here. And Claude told me I'd lost weight since the meditation weekend, so I need to tell everybody here, as of right now, he's my favorite person in this. Well, now, you did tell me I look slim on the elevator this morning. So, all right, so y'all are in the top. I have a running gag with my kids. It's like a political thing, like which one's, I probably shouldn't joke with them on this, but which one's my favorite? And when I went to the table the other night, Judah said, Dad, you've lost weight. I said, he just pulled into the lead. I'd like to, can we please check the numbers? Judah Swilley has moved into the lead. Anyway, if you'll remain standing for a moment, we're going to do the Lord's Prayer with a little explanation on it. So we'll just say this together, if you will. Our Father, who art in heaven, presence of divine love and light that lives within us and within all of life, hallowed be thy name. We invoke the powerful creative nature of all that is sacred and holy. Thy kingdom come. We embrace the healing essence that is the kingdom of heaven within us. Thy will be done. We accept our greatest good as we align with our divine nature. On earth as it is in heaven, knowing that the affairs of our lives reflect our evolving consciousness. Give us this day our daily bread. Each day we receive great blessings from within and throughout all the activities of our lives. and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. We accept the divine nature of all things and all people, including ourselves, as we move away from judgment and toward greater awareness of divine presence. And lead us not into temptation. We shall be vigilant in expressing and experiencing the oneness with all life. But deliver us from evil, as we are learning to live without fault-finding and suffering. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. For we accept the consciousness of divine perfection within all its power and glory, right here, right now, and forever. Amen. And so it is. All right, I used to tell everybody, give somebody a hug before you're seated, but these days I'm saying just ask permission, and if it seems harmless, that's fine. And I mean just because of people's masks and stuff. And then you may be seated. Thank you for being here. My musician has, where did he go? He is still here, isn't he? Okay. He asked where there was coffee. I said, well, there's a, hey Chandra. I said, there is a Starbucks. He didn't go all the way to Starbucks, did he? Oh, they do have coffee here? I was not aware. Okay. Well, then I will, say what? Yeah, you're right. I have to hold. Yeah. Oh, I just heard what you said. I thought you said we have an ostrich, and I'm like, I'm trying to, like, what exactly do you mean? Exactly do you mean by that? Let me, until he gets in here, let me go ahead and just give you some announcements then. And the first of which is we will be back here first Sunday of December. I think was that December 4th? And Jonah's in Scotland right now doing a gig. But hey, Mimi, how you doing? Yeah, come on up. Come sit up here. This is not a regular gig with his regular group. This is a different person. And come in. Glad you're here. Mimi's the one that came up. It's a long story, but I'll just tell you this. You do what you want to do. She wasn't able to get her car together to drive up to Chattanooga, so she took a bus, and the bus didn't let her out in Chattanooga, so she went all the way to Nashville. And so I was texting her during the night, like, did you get here? Because I got a sense, I mean, you can't be just walking around Chattanooga at 3 o'clock in the morning. And long story short, she finally made it. So Jonah will be here first Sunday of December. He'll be back. And then we'll be doing our Christmas event on Saturday, December 17th. It's the first time we've ever done one on Saturday. So I'm really happy about that. So you won't have to deal with traffic or anything getting here. Corey Lamont, who travels as Choreology, he's going to be there. He used to be our worship leader, and then when I started this, he went to work for Pastor Warnock / Senator Warnock. And so, but he's going to bring a whole band and do a whole Christmas thing, and it's going to be really cool. And there's a sign-up thing on the bishandthenow.com, so you can just click on. We're just doing a $20 cover charge, and that covers entertainment and the rental of the space. If you want to order food, there's some food there. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we have Meditation Weekend number 17. Can you believe it? 17. And we're going to iconic Alpine, Helen, Georgia. If you've never been to Helen, it's a really, really cool place. Back in the 60s, it used to be just like this little mountain town that always had huge traffic during the fall. So one day they got together and said, how can we capitalize on this? So they turned it into like a little German Alpine village, and they have like Oktoberfest and Beer Fest and all this kind of stuff, and it's adorable. And this time of year, we're doing it, what are we doing? January 21st, 22nd. It shouldn't be that crowded. Like right now, it would be super crowded. But it should be fine by then. So, and it looks like we've already I've already got a lot of people already signed up to go. So even Brenda's got her room. Uh, I don't know. You might have been. I got some people that they go real fast. So I don't know. But anyway, I may mention these things again. But if you would, I'd like to tell you about something that happened. Gosh, I don't know. Nearly 2 months ago, I guess. I was just right over here, the shopping center where I kind of do everything. And I've never seen a musician out there playing. Like in New York City, there's musicians playing everywhere. They're on the subway, but that's unusual for Atlanta. And I've always loved the cello. There's something about the depth of it. I love all stringed instruments, but the cello is my favorite. There's a where the register is on a cello. It's like I was telling you about the key of D flat the other day. It just resonates in me, and I wasn't stressed out, but I was in a hurry. I was about to leave town, and I was, taking care of errands. And I thought, where am I hearing this cello music? I thought, are they piping in music out here? That's a first. And I looked, and this guy is out there playing the cello, and I just stopped what I was doing and stood there for, I don't know, 20 minutes and listened to him, and it was really cool. Like I said, I wasn't stressed, but it did make me stop and become present. Do you understand what I mean? And music has a power to do that. I was having a good day, but suddenly I just stopped and said, you know what, just take a minute and connect with this. And then another time, he was out there, and I spoke to him, and there's a bit of a connection. And then later I thought, you know what, I need to have that guy come. This would be great. I'd love to have him at Metron. But then I never could find him again. Every time I go out there at the same time, he was never there. And I thought it must have just been a fluke that this guy was there. And one night, about a month ago, I even mentioned I don't know if you remember, one day in teaching, I said, I'm going to put this out of the universe. I saw this guy play, and I don't know his name. I don't know how I would find him. But I want to invite him to come to Metron. And so one evening, Ken was out at work, and I thought, I'm just going to drive over there and I'm just going to get something to eat because there's a couple places around there. And he was out there. And I said, hey, I need to introduce myself. I interrupted his song. I said, I need to introduce myself. I told him about Metron, and we worked it out. And so he's here today. And I'm super excited about having him and want him to take his time and do his thing. But would you just please stand and welcome our new friend, because I don't believe it's going to be his last time to be with us. And he's a good guy. And without any further ado, would you please welcome Johnny Almanza. Johnny, come do your thing.
My name is Johnny Almanza, and I'm your local neighborhood cellist. I like starting off my sessions with like a little meditation. If you guys wanna, I don't know if y'all guys are vocalists or if any of y'all do like chanting or oming or anything like that.
Whatever you want to do, we're good with it.
Awesome. All right, let's start off with a little om, a little, frequency connection. Not sure if y'all familiar with Bach, but here's a little Bach for y'all guys. Oh man, I'm so sorry. next piece that I'm about to play is Saint Saëns by well, it's called The Carnival of Animals, The Swan by Saint Saëns. It's like from the 1700s. Like when I play this music, I feel like I get transported like back in time, because like these are timeless pieces. These are the exact same notes that people were listening to like way in the way back. You know what I mean? So I feel like it takes me to like a different land. But let's get that backtracking up if we can. Thank you very much. That was The Swan by Saint Saëns. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you. I ain't done yet. Hold on.
The first you played was Bach.
Bach,
What was the second movement?
The second movement was called The Swan by Saint Saëns.
No, that was the last one you just played. You just played four things. What was the second one you played?
The second one. All right, the second one was Allemande. It's a part of his first suite. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the 6 suites from Bach. He's got 6 suites, and I played 3 pieces off of his first suite, which is in G major. I played Prelude, Allemande, and Bourrée.
So your first 2 were Bach.
Yeah, first 2 were
The
Bach.
third one was what?
This one right here was Saint Saëns. The one with the piano backing, that's Saint Saëns, The Swan.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, man, it's a very beautiful piece. The guy had wrote it for someone that he was in love with, and like at the time, those are times where like marriages were, what do you call them? Arranged. Yeah, marriages were arranged and things weren't done out of love, and like Saint Saëns is. He was like, like, I love you, like, I'll compose, like, whole symphonies for you. And the woman, she was a French woman, very beautiful too, but you know they ended up not being able to do things out of love, and so she ended up like just killing herself, because unfortunately, like in those times, life was a lot harder than what we have today, and so he devoted like all his life to write love songs about her, and like Saint Sean's, like you can hear it, bro. You can hear like the passion and the love and the intensity in it, and like to be able to portray that and to be able to channel that love, that's gold, man. I love it.
That's beautiful.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I have another piece too. It's one of my original compositions. Just something I was messing around with, But y'all go ahead. Y'all enjoy it. Y'all enjoy it. I have one more too. This is called "Dance to the Leaves." This is actually what I was playing when I met Jim, which is it's funny, man. I'm telling you, it's a blessing to me.
So it's our song?
It's our song. Yeah, this is our song, man. This is our song. I love it. I love it. So I do gotta play one more. I just want to play one more for y'all guys since Christmas and stuff is coming up. Let's see. How did it go? It's like dun, 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 dun. Oh no, hold on. What's that one? It's the Christmas song. I got it. It's like stuck in my head. It's like. What child is this?
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Y'all happy holidays. Oh my God. It's about to be Turkey Day.
Johnny Almanza.
Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much. You guys are the best, literally. I love you.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Wellington. Man, your original, so good. Your original composition was that was amazing. So good. Wow. So what? Do you see what I mean? There's just something about. I love all strings, but there's a depth and a resonance to a cello that's just. I was thinking about, and I'm sure I shared these things first time Marshall Ruffin came, but the word in Americana, the word minstrel has got some baggage with it because now it means like unfortunate things that happen with blackface and that kind of stuff. But the original word is a scriptural word, and in the King James, you see it a couple of times. One of them is when Saul. We don't know what his deal was. The scripture called it an evil spirit, but it could have been bipolar. I mean, who knows? But when he was tormented, he would bring David, and David would play on the harp, and he used it for medicinal purposes. Like people could tell when Saul's got that crazy look in his eyes, like somebody call Dave. And the other one is in Elisha. He was a famous prophet, and so these three different kings came to him one day because their country was being threatened, and so they wanted him to prophesy, like, what should we do? And he didn't want to do it. He's like, seriously, it's like he was a very reluctant prophet. So, these guys had come and made a demand on him. So he says, all right, fine, but bring me a minstrel. Like somebody had to come and play before he could get in that zone. And I always thought that was interesting. And once the minstrel began to play a stringed instrument, he could get in the mode. He could, music just does something that nothing else does. And you've really captured it. You're a true psalmist and minstrel, and we will definitely have you back for sure. Yeah, I know. And what the other thing, I don't think he'll mind me saying this. Like the first time I saw him, he had just because he works construction, he had just come from a construction site and had his construction boots on. I thought that's not usually what I think of, a guy that's inked up and everything. And but that was even more intriguing to me. I thought he's that feels very Metron-ish. And I really liked that he just was himself. And the reason, I don't think he'll mind me saying this too, the reason he wears an eye patch, one day on the job he was badly injured, and so he just, I mean, you have some vision out of it, but I think he feels more comfortable, and it looks cool. I mean, it's got the whole thing with so it definitely works. That's why sometimes he'll wear sunglasses or whatever, but he can't see you, and we'll be definitely having him back. Avery already gave you the thing to fill out. I said, well, I don't think we're going to pay him that much today. Well, she said, well, we're probably going to have him back. I said, okay, that's fine. You have to sign what is that thing? Yeah. But anyway, so it's a good sign. If Avery has you sign something, it means future invitations are coming. A couple things also I want to do before I get into the Word. Man, that was just beautiful. I just love that. I may have to hear that one again. The one that you did with the track. That one is just, it is transcendent. It transforms. There's something about that second strain where it hits that sort of, I call it a seventh. I don't know if that's what it is, but it's na 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 na, and then it goes that other note, na na na, that, and like kind of a minor. I'm like, oh, that just really got my attention. It's fantastic. Love it. For our outreach this month, we've actually done several things this month that I'm just going to consider our outreach. But one of them that I will mention is the Feeding America World Central Kitchen. We did give to them. We've given to several. Just so you know, the giving always goes on. That's why. I mean, we've been here into our 9th year. We've given to a different ministry or organization every month for all that time. So we're on everybody's mailing list. You cannot believe what the mailbox looks like. And some of them we've repeated, like St. Jude's and 2 or 3 of them. But there's just, usually I will react to whatever's the most recent disaster. Like the previous month, I think we gave to hurricane relief and some places, and the month before that was flooding. We've done a lot of stuff through the Red Cross, but we did this, so that will be our November outreach. And BJ put together a video for us from Meditation Weekend 16, and we're going to show that now. And I love this. This song is Layla Hathaway, who we met at the TFAM conference. She's Donny Hathaway's daughter. That sang, I've been so many places, and shake a hand. You'll hear him a lot. I love this song. We spent some time. Well, we spent some time with her. We met her in Las Vegas a few years ago, and so I love that he chose this song. But he really just captured sort of the essence of the Meditation Weekend. So let's show that, if we will, please, Charles. Thank you. That is incredible. You never cease to amaze. The reason he kept showing the bridge, that's where we were meeting. We're right there on the Tennessee River in Coolidge Park, right beside the historic Walnut Street Bridge, and it's that water's always got a mystical element to it anyway. But that there's something about that river. It's right through the middle of Chattanooga, but it's very, very special little piece of real estate. And the one thing that was really cool, you saw the baby on there. I don't think John and Winnie are here this morning, but a lot of times I can't see who's behind the lights. But nearly a year to the day, we were out there for, I think, number 12, we were out there. And Winnie was quite pregnant at the time. And I didn't know they were going to be there, and we ended up sort of turning it into something that she had wanted. It's sort of an African tradition where the community and the elders of the city, they all come out and they, place hands on the mothers where the baby is, and she had wanted to schedule that and wasn't able to work it out, and we just sort of, without knowing that, we sort of did an impromptu one, and it was very powerful. So here we were a year later, and there's little Juanito who's born, and it's incredible. And there's pictures. I know I posted a lot of pictures of it, but I've known Winnie since she was 8, I guess, and now to see her as a mother, and John's an incredible guy, and when we were in the energy circle, he put him down, and Juanito just walked right out and waved at me, and there was definitely a connection. So that was very, very cool. So each one of these has been very different. No two have been. They're like snowflakes or fingerprints. No two are exactly alike. And some of you have never been to one. You really ought to just make the decision to go. If Mimi can go all the way, she didn't even know us. She didn't know what kind of people we were. We could have been crazy people up there in Chattanooga for all she knew. But when she told me what time did you finally get to Chattanooga? Like, it was like up in the day, wasn't it? Because you had to wait at like the station in Nashville. Have you still got you haven't got your bags yet? We need to be in agreement that she gets her bags yet, because they were. I don't want to diss Greyhound, but they weren't. Greyhound wasn't all that. And when she said, I may take a Greyhound, I thought she was joking, because a lot of times people will say, I don't care what, I'm going to be there, whatever. And then, oh, you really mean it. You actually did take a Greyhound bus that did not stop in Chattanooga. Wow. So I was like, I respect when people just go, I'm going, by God. So, and you got to see yourself on the big screen today. So there's that. Who knew that was coming? Is that everything I needed to announce? Okay. Y'all ready for the word? All right. I like that. Chandra jumped right in. Miss Al, that is a fictional character. As I've told you before, Chandra is saved. Miss Alice is not. Chandra is an actress. So if you watch Brah, which we do, we've not missed an episode, and we're waiting for. Isn't season 4 about to come out? But you might want to have a glass of wine before you watch, because she is unfiltered. And Chandra's not just a comedian. I mean, she's an actress who really commits to a part. She was so. The previous series she was on, where she played Miss V, I actually watched a few minutes of it before it occurred to me it was you. Because you didn't tell me what character you were playing, and you looked so different, and you weren't Chandra. You were this entity called Miss V. And I'm watching, I'm like, where's Chandra? I'm like, oh my God, that's her. And so anyway, y'all don't even know. Y'all are in the if the paparazzi knew who was in here, we'd have trouble. So are we ready for the podcast? All right. Welcome to the Metron Live podcast, coming to you from beautiful, historic Midtown Atlanta. Metron people, would you give the podcast people a big welcome? Hello, hello, hello. Again, thank you, Charles, the rock god of podcasting. We appreciate it. I do want to share something that I think, not just because it's November, but this is a topic that needs to be revisited often. And I'm going to take it from a particular scripture, but I'm calling it "Celebrate Always: The Power of Gratitude to Shape Reality." And the scripture I want to start with is out of 1 Thessalonians. It's chapter 5, verse 16. And in the King James, Paul says, "Rejoice evermore." In the Voice translation, this is why I love all the different translations, because sometimes people will pick up a little nuanced difference of something that kind of, you turn the diamond a little bit and you see another facet. And what he says in the Voice translation, he doesn't say rejoice evermore, he says celebrate always. And I'm going to come back to that phrase, but let me give you some context. He says celebrate always, pray constantly. That's where in the King James it says pray without ceasing. And, well, let me read this and then I'll expound. And give thanks to God no matter what circumstances you find yourself in. That's where in the King James it says, in everything give thanks. This is God's will for all of you in Jesus the Anointed. Don't suppress the Spirit. Don't downplay prophecies. Take a close look at everything. Test it. Then cling to what is good. Put away every form of evil. Now, this thing about celebrate always, Ecclesiastes says there's a time to laugh and there's a time to mourn. The proverb says, he who sings songs to him who is of a heavy heart is like one who takes away a coat in winter. So sometimes when you're in a certain zone and somebody's trying to cheer you up or tell you should just be grateful, or it could be worse, or you need to count your blessings, sometimes you just want to say, shut up. I can't believe how insensitive you are. That's not helping me. What I'm going through right now has nothing to do with ingratitude. Paul wrote to the Romans, and he says, rejoice with those that do rejoice and weep with those that weep, meaning be sensitive to the needs of people. And when I had church in the Now, and I don't even know how many care pastors we had. Once the church got to a certain level, there's no way I could minister to everybody. It was just too many people for one person. So I had all these mostly couples that were called care pastors, and each of them had X amount of, I think, 25 people under their, like that they were family units that they were responsible for. And so I would tell them, I'd say, listen, when you're going to the hospital to visit somebody, or you're going to a funeral home, somebody's mother's just died, you don't have to have anything to say. You just need to be there. Sometimes talking to somebody and saying she's in a better place or something, that's not helpful. It comes across like you're being insensitive to the fact somebody just lost a loved one, and it's appropriate for them to be upset about it. I've gone to some funerals before where the minister gets up and he says, now we're not going to cry for this person, they're in a better place. I'm like, I'm not sure I agree with that. Jesus knew he was going to raise Lazarus from the dead, and still when he saw the tomb, that was a friend of his, and it says Jesus wept. So even this last funeral I did, Danny was there and Ernie and Avery were there. It was a very sad experience. I mean, this was not the kind of funeral that you wanted. It's not like an elderly person that you say, they've fought a good fight, they've kept the faith. I mean, this was a tragedy. And the woman got up and sang. She did a beautiful job with it, but the song was "Don't Cry for Me." And it was like she's channeling the person from the other side. And when we got through, I said, no disrespect to your performance, because you performed the song beautifully, but may I say that, yes, probably if we could hear from the other side, that is what this young man would say to us. However, we're not there yet. And because I'm looking at his 11-year-old son sitting on the front row who's crying. I'm like, this is appropriate. Like, we all need to rally around this family and just weep with them, and not even try to make it make sense. Sometimes when somebody's even trying to make sense of something, you just want to go, you are so out of touch. Just shut up. Just be there. Another thing I tell people a lot of times at funerals, I will tell the family, I'll say, you're going to hear something the next several weeks. You're going to hear it a lot. It's people saying, let me know if there's anything I can do. May I please say to the friends here, please don't say that to them, because they don't know what to tell you to do. If you know them well enough to do something, then just do it. Just don't stand around saying, should I bring a casserole? Just bring just bring the casserole. Either you know what they like or you don't know them, or send them some money for expenses or something, but you don't have to. Sometimes it's distracting when somebody keeps saying, what can I do? And you have to keep explaining to them. They're like, well, do you like it this way or that way? I'm like, just do it. It's fine. What about, are you alert? No, if I had allergies, I would tell you. Never mind. You know what I mean? And we did something that you didn't really see any pictures of this, but what we did Sunday morning at this last meditation weekend was actually my favorite part. I loved what we did the night before, but my favorite part of the whole thing, as I said, I feel very impressed of the Spirit to say this. I said, you hear the phrase holding space for someone a lot. And what that means is when you hold space for somebody, it means you're just present with them. You're not judging them. You're not even trying to encourage them necessarily unless they ask you. You're certainly not trying to advise them. There's way too much unsolicited advice. And if he's watching, I hope he will not be offended at this because I mean no offense. But Friday night, right before I did 11:11, I was up on the roof, and a young man I'd never met before lives in my building. He walked out there. He said, "Are you doing time-lapse photography?" Because I had my phone set up on a tripod. I said, "No, I do a live stream thing." I said, I'm a minister. I do a live stream thing at 11. And it was like 11:05 when he came out there. I said, in 6 minutes, I'm going to go live. So I was telling him we were talking a little bit, and he told me where he worked, and I had something opinionated to say about it. So yesterday, I messaged him. I said, look, I didn't mean to insult where you work. That was, please don't take that personally. I was just speaking an opinion about something. And he said, oh, no, that's totally fine. He said, by the way, I watched your stream. I'm like, okay, well, I didn't ask you to, but okay, good. And he said, I agree with a lot of you said, but I don't like your, he just told me what he thought about it. It was nice, but I'm thinking, thank you for your unsolicited opinion that I didn't ask for. I mean, I didn't say, would you please watch this and get back with me and tell me what you think? And it's just typical. He said, if we run into each other in the building, I'd like to chat again. And I wanted to say, okay, dude, I don't want to argue with you. I didn't ask you to watch. But I said, okay, fair enough. We'll see. And it's like I have this. I was telling Ken about this last night because there are several people that do this. If I sit down to have something delicious to eat and I think it looks really good, I will take a picture of it. That's not that unusual for Instagram or whatever. And that's just me saying, I'm just showing y'all, this is what I'm doing in my day. Sometimes something cool happens with it. The other day I was over here and I put a picture on, I'm at Metro Fresh, and Henry that lives in Oklahoma texted me, said, how much is your lunch? I said, what? He said, I want to pay for your lunch. Okay. So I told him how much the bill was, and he Venmo'd me. So I'm like, now I want to put every meal on there. Like, this is where I'm eating right now. Everybody wants to see. But sometimes if I post something like, for instance, I love Brussels sprouts. I love it. I could eat them like candy. I like them every possible way that they're prepared. Apparently, a lot of people don't like them because if I ever post a picture, people want to show me. I get lots of emojis of people vomiting. And I'm like, this is so rude. First of all, this is not a poll. I didn't say, please tell me as soon as you can what you think about Brussels sprouts. I have to know. I'm like, I'm just sitting here, and thank you for grossing me out with the green vomit coming out of the face that you are sending me. I didn't invite you to lunch. I'm not asking you to eat them. I'm not asking your opinion about them. I would never do that. Some people have to tell me, nope, I'm not. Well, I didn't ask you to eat with me. So you're good. Nobody's going to make you eat one of my Brussels sprouts. I'm already finished with it anyway. But we live in a world where everybody thinks you're asking their opinion about something, and sometimes you're not necessarily. So even when somebody's trying to, in a very well-meaning way, make you feel better about a situation that maybe you're not ready to feel better about. I mean, can I really get real? If somebody's just really, really hurt you, you're not really ready for a lecture about forgiveness yet, right? Later, maybe, but right now you're like, you know what? I understand the whole forgiveness piece, but I just encountered something very difficult that I'm having to process right now. I'll get to forgiveness. Stop. You're not the boss of me. Stop telling me what to do. So having said that, all right, well, if the title of this is Celebrate Always, what does that mean? That you're just always going to be in party mode and you're always celebrating? I mean, a little bit of that could go a long way. That could get really obnoxious. We don't have to deal with this now because of cell phones and texting and everything, which whoever invented texting, they need a crown in heaven. It's the most wonderful thing because you can leave a note for someone and be sure that they got it. You don't leave it on a doorway somewhere that's going to fall off of that. It's that and GPS are both right up there with every time I use GPS, I'm like, I pronounce a blessing on the household of whoever. Oh, that and air conditioning. Whoever invented air conditioning, like those three people, I command a blessing on the wonderful people that created this. But back in the days when people had answering machines, the first few years they were out, people gave you way too much information. You call somebody, they're like, you're being answered by an electronic answering machine. You're like, yeah, I know. I'm trying to leave you. I'm not here right now. Okay, that's fine. Just shut up and I'll leave you the message. But if you'll be so kind to leave your name, your number, the time that you called, the time zone that you were living in, your mother's maiden name, and your Social Security number, I will get back to you soon. By that time, I've already hung up. I'm like, I don't even talk to this person now. In that length of time, that it took, I'd be like, I'm out. Like, this person's dead to me now. And but what was really bad is when people thought they had to really Christianize, like, praise God, this is the day the Lord has made. I'm like, oh, baby, I know it's the day the Lord has made. How about just saying, you know what to do, beep, and I'll leave the message. But no, you got to preach me a little sermonette, and every time I leave you a message, I've got to hear the sermon again. Like, please don't. And so those are just my personal, feelings about things. I feel better having vented. Thank you. But my point is, if you say celebrate always, what does that mean? That somebody's going to be inappropriately happy all the time? No, that's not what I'm talking about. I mean, technically, a funeral is a celebration. It's not the kind of celebration where there's confetti and noisemakers and stuff. But my feeling is when I do a funeral, we're there to celebrate the life of the person. It's not an opportunity for me to have an altar call or to preach a sermon. I don't frankly think anybody can preach a funeral. I think you preach your own funeral by how you live your life. Some guy will get up there and say some stuff to make it make sense and give you a eulogy and hopefully tell some anecdotes about your life. When I did Larry's mother's funeral, I'd never met Larry's mother. I knew Larry, and a lot of times you know somebody by I did both Larry and Chandra's mother's services. But with Larry's, I had at least met your mom because I visited her in the hospital, but I had never met your mom. So, Larry and Chandra are like family, so I'm like, I want to make sure that I really say something. And I think, well, I don't know her, so what do I say? So while the music's getting started, I'm reading the program about her, and it's talking about the different types of music that she liked, and it kind of went, and I could put together a little thing. I thought, oh, I see who she is. Like, she was somebody who was always current, because I remember in the thing, it's like it started with Aretha and some like old school singers, and then this was a few years ago, and then it was like, and she loved Beyonce, and so I thought, okay, well, what that says to me is she was young at heart, she kept up with the times. I mean, just from that, I was like a private detective. I put together this whole thing like, oh, that's who she is. And it must have been because when I got up there and preached, everybody was like, he's right. That's her. That's her exactly. And so you kind of have to know how to, like when I first met Ken, his mom had passed. And so we went out to the Methodist church there where she played the piano, and her body's buried there. And so I went there and I spoke to the grave. I said, Mrs. Marshall, I said, I know you're not here. I know you're on the other side. But this is the last place we saw you. And I just want to introduce myself and say thank you for raising such a wonderful son. And I feel like I know you because I know him. I know this could not have been, he could not have turned out this way without, your influence. And it was like it's a very, very special moment. The reason I'm saying all that is when, like, a funeral to me should be, like, for instance, I'm sure I've shared this before, and I got to be careful what I say because way more people watch this streaming than I realize. I'm like, there's a lot of them out there who will say, I saw your message Sunday. I'm like, really? I didn't even know you had my number. Okay. So I don't think this is anything negative. But my aunt who passed away several years ago, they had, and this is nothing against the Baptists, but they had joined a Baptist church. And the Baptists typically are really strong on getting people saved, coming to the altar. I mean, that's not a stereotype. That's a thing. This pastor never told one anecdote about her. I mean, it was clearly he had absolutely no clue who she was. Clearly he'd never met her. And that's supposed to be their pastor. I'm like, well, you didn't know her very well. And I'm going to say he did 3 altar calls because the whole thing was, if you ever want to see her again, you must receive Jesus as your Savior. And he kept telling, that was the extent of his message. If you want to see her, you have to go to heaven, and the only way to go to heaven is, he took us to the Roman road, and we after the 3rd time we prayed the sinner's prayer with him, I thought, okay, I think that did it. Now I think that 3rd one took. I don't know. I just feel like that 3rd one, I felt like that one took. No, it didn't, because when we go out to the graveside, he starts it up again. And I wanted to say, sir, I don't know you, but everybody here is saved. We are so saved. If we weren't, we definitely could have not gotten through that funeral without your 3, count them 3, and now 4, and I believe you're about to do a 5th altar call. I mean, I don't know what else you can do other than bringing a tank of water out here and baptizing us. That's what Leslie Jordan, who recently passed, his mother goes to Central Baptist Church in Chattanooga, and he was saying he didn't have any conflict about his sexuality, or he totally made peace with that. But he did say, and he says his album, Company's Coming, that he did just a few months before he passed, is actually really good. I mean, he does a thing on there with Dolly Parton and who's Chris Stapleton. I mean, it's like old school Southern gospel, go to heaven, but it's very well produced. And the version of Angel Band he does with Brandy Carlisle is incredible. But anyway, on the thing he says something about, he talked like this, and he said, yeah, I've been baptized like 13 times. I want to make sure it took. And that's the way I felt with this guy who was altar call. I'm like, I'm pretty sure we're all in. I mean, even I think Jesus just said, enough already. Stop calling my name. Y'all are saved. So anyway, what I'm saying is that even times that are solemn or formal or something that should be taken seriously, they're still celebrations. So there's a proverb that says, it talks about the man who, I don't know, it says something like the man who fears the Lord or something like that. But the phrase that always stays out to me is he has a continual feast. Claude, you may know that reference, but you know what I'm talking about. Whatever he says, if you do this, wherever you go will be a celebration. And I really do believe. I saw a meme last night. It says if you can't be grateful over a cup of coffee, you won't be grateful for a yacht, because it's all the same thing. And I thought, I know that's true. And sometimes, and I'm happy for this. As I've gotten older, every beautiful experience I have, I really want to. That's one reason I photograph things so much. It's like, no, I want to save this. I want to preserve this. One day when my granddaughter still lived here, Olivia said to me, she said, Poppy, why are you taking pictures of us all the time? I said, baby, I know you don't understand this at your age, but I'm going to blink and you're going to be 25. So if you're doing something that, like, I've told you this before, one day I'd taken her to the store and she had her hair back in a little braid and she just looked real, like a little cute little girl. And she wanted some candy, so I got her all the stuff that her mom said she shouldn't have. I was like, you tell Poppy what you want, baby. And that's what grandparents are to do, is to completely override the authority of the parents. And she's like singing a song, and she's like looping around a pole like little kids would do. They're just circling around, and that's when she stopped. She said, why are you taking my picture? I said, because you're never going to look like this again. And she doesn't. The last time Christina showed me a picture, I'm like, well, she looks like a completely grown woman. I'm glad I got those pictures. So everything, to celebrate always is it's a mindset. So let me show you. Let me go through this very quickly. I got some points I want to show you. I love this Melody Beattie quote. I use it a lot. It says, gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos to order, confusion to clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. I mean, honestly, I could come in and read this verse, and that I can't improve on that. Because what that's saying is that gratitude, the attitude to celebrate always, takes every mundane thing and turns it into something amazing. When this is taken a little out of context, but when Jesus gave the parable about the man with the talents is it's a denomination of money, and this man had 3 different stewards that worked for him, and he gave each of them an amount of money, and then just to see what they would do with it. And 2 of them invested, who had a larger amount, invested the money. And when they came back, he said, what have you done with the money? And they said, well, we invested it, we made something back on it. And the one guy who had been given the least, it was still all significant amounts of money, but the one who had been given the least, he said, I knew what kind of man you are, sowing where, or reaping where you did not sow. Well, right there, that's already going to get my attention when somebody says, what do you mean you know what kind of, you don't know what kind of, what are you talking about? Like, we don't see people as they are, we see them as we are. Everything is projection. So he said, I knew what you were like, so what I did is I took my money and I put it in a hole in the ground, and here it is. Now, you would look at that and think, well, at least he wasn't like the prodigal son, he didn't run through it. So, all right, I would think if I didn't know how that story turns out, I would think, well, the reward is, Jesus said, well, at least it was for safekeeping. But he didn't. He said, he was furious with him. And then it says, take from the man who has the least and give it to the man who's given the most. That doesn't sound fair, I know. But he says this phrase, I think about it all the time, to them that have will more be given, to them that have not will more be taken away. There's no such thing as luck. There's no such thing as God loving one person more than another. Your life is your creation. If you're going through life with a victim mentality and a chip on your shoulder, I suggest you look into gratitude, because the more you feel like life dealt you a bad hand, and if that's your paradigm of life, all that's going to happen is you're going to continue to spiral downward. it's never going to get any better. Until one day you say, you know what? I'm just going to be grateful for what I have right now. Some people say, well, when things get better, then I'll be grateful. Baby, that is not the way it works. If that's what you're waiting for, you will never have enough money. Things will never line up enough. Like, everybody's going through stuff. I love that meme when somebody says, you know who's going through a lot right now? Literally everybody you meet. That's just called life, right? So, but if you're thinking, oh, it's, it always happens to me. Everything bad happens to me. Well, guess what? This time next year, more bad things will be added to the list. That's why I've been talking about this for years. The power of the list. What is that? The list is either going to work for you or against you. If you accentuate the positive things, if you say, let me tell you just what happened just today. Just today, I walked into a theater that I could afford to rent with people that are on the page with me, most of whom I've known for many years and have a great connection with, and I hadn't seen most of them in several weeks. And so that was awesome. And I met this guy out on the sidewalk that's playing a cello, and somehow I found him, and he came, and he played beautifully, and everybody loved it, and they got it. And when I get through here, I'm going to go have lunch, and I'm going to have enough money to pay for lunch. It's going to be great. And this afternoon, I'm going to go home, and, I've got a place to go. If I want to take a nap, oh, man. When I was a kid, I always had to lay down for Sunday afternoon nap and hated it. Now I can't imagine, how did I ever hate a Sunday afternoon nap? Sunday afternoon nap that's nirvana now. But there was a time, Jimmy Earl, you got to lay down, because we always had church on Sunday night. You got to lay down, take a nap. I'd be like, well, I'll lay down when I'm not going to go to sleep. Now, ooh, that feeling when you're in your chair and you're like, I might be going out. Baby, that's as good as it gets. And you wake up. This morning, we had an extra hour, so that was good. But then my mom does this thing, and if she's watching, I'm not faulting her for it, but she has a friend who, anyway, she wants to let me know that she made it through the night. And I'm like, well, Mom, I'm going to check on you, but okay. So usually when I wake up in the morning, there's a text that says, I'm okay. I lived through the night. I'm like, okay, thumbs up. Like, that's good. Was pretty sure you would. And I check on you every single day. So if you did die, you couldn't have been gone that long. Because, I know there's not that big a space between the phone calls. And I'm not even talking about the people that live around you. But if it gives you comfort to let me know that you survived the night and you're still alive, then okay, good. This morning, I was in the middle of a dream, and I was like, oh, I got an extra hour to sleep. And she accidentally called me to tell me she was alive. And she said, I didn't mean to. I hit the wrong thing. I meant to text you. I'm like, okay, good. We'll see you tonight. So I get up, go to the bathroom, go lay back down, just dozing off again. I look at I'm like, man, I got another hour. And then, attention, there has been, immediately the alarm goes off. I'm like, are you kidding? An alarm? And there's no way, it's so loud in my building, there's no way you could stay. I don't care how bad off you were, you're just going to have to drag yourself. You cannot bear the sound. So we both swore. That was our first words this morning, some obscenities. And drug ourselves up, got ready. You're staggering around like, wait, I got to have my wallet. I don't know is the building on fire or whatever. So we get totally dressed. We're totally dressed. I'm already ready. I got the door to my loft open. Like, I'm about to say, come on, we need to go. And just as he gets to the door, it stops. So I'm thinking, false alarm. But this is how I look at it. I think, well, you know what? A lot of people don't have a mom that's still on this side. Some of you would say, I'd give anything to get a text that she's still alive. So I try to think of that, and I don't take it for granted. And then, what's that? Right. And it's fine. And I was like, I'm not mad at her that she wants me to know that. That's fine. It's probably makes sense to do it. But I'm saying gratitude makes me say, don't let this annoy you. Be grateful that you got this text this morning. And then I go back to sleep in the bed that I'm grateful for. And then I wake up again. I'm like, well, I should be grateful that the fire alarm works. Because if the building was on fire, as obnoxious as it is, I would like to just not lay in the bed and burn to death. So, like, that would be, crazy me. Like, maybe I should be grateful for that. And then when it stopped, I thought, well, I should be grateful that we're not standing out on the sidewalk. I mean, seriously, that's what this is talking about. Gratitude automatically, when something's about to be a complaint, gratitude says, no. Look at the good that's in this. And I'll tell you, it's like a muscle that you develop. The more you do it, the more you attract good things to yourself. The more if you've got a complaint list, and you know people that have that, every time you talk to them, they tell you, and I guarantee you the next time you check on them, they go, oh, you can't believe what's happened now. And now like they've added 3 more horrible things. And you think, the list now has taken on a power of its own. The list itself has a centrifugal force to it that the more you add to it, it just gets stronger in your life. You're now a victim of your own list. So the reason why I use virtual reality to always accentuate what's positive, and I post pictures of memories of things that I want to remember that were good. Like today, in my memories, I posted some pictures, but there was also memories of, from 7 years ago. Hey, I got Dad home from surgery, blah, blah, blah. I don't need to post those. It's like we already been through that. I just want to show you, like, here's the wonderful things that I want to remember. And the more you celebrate it, the more there is to celebrate. Amen? Next thing I want to show you is Emerson. I can't teach without an Emerson quote. I love Emerson. He says, cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you and to give thanks continuously. And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude. Now, that's next level. When you can say, all right, I'm just going to go out on a limb here and be grateful for everything. Even though the scripture I originally read says, in everything give thanks, not necessarily for everything give thanks. But I do think there is a higher frequency, and that is saying, I'm just going to believe it's all a blessing. And if it doesn't look like a blessing yet, it eventually will. I will wrestle with I love the story, whether these were literally happened or not. The truth of them is eternal. When Jacob wrestles with, depending on which translation you read, some translation says he wrestled with the Lord. Most translations say he wrestled with an angel. But it says that they wrestled all night long. And finally Jacob said, I'm not going to let you go till you bless me. And he did get blessed, but he got injured in the blessing. He says he limped away from but he still prevailed. And that to me is something you should approach everything. I can't tell how many times I've counseled my children with this. If they had something negative, I said, wrestle with the angel until it blesses you. It's like you don't let it go. This thing's not over until I get a blessing out of it. And it may be uncomfortable. You might get injured. You might limp away from the match. But you will limp away blessed. And so with everything that comes to you, you determine. This is what I love about things I've studied in quantum physics, about the unified quantum field that is full of unlimited potential that is neither good nor bad things, but however you observe it, it collapses into your reality. That to me is tree of life versus tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So that everything that happens, you think, well, it doesn't look like a blessing yet, but it will. And I will wrestle with this thing until somehow, I really believe you can get to a point where you're like, whatever comes to me, it's kind of, how I visualize it? Like those, like a goalie on a soccer team, where he's just going back and forth and he's intercepting it's like everything that's thrown at you, you're like, if it's negative, you're like, I'm not accepting it. And if it's positive, you let it go and you let it come in. And if it doesn't look like a blessing yet, you send it back. Like, don't hit this again into this goalpost until this thing's a blessing. Number 4, I got to quote Oprah. I think most times she's referred to now as the Oprah. True forgiveness is when you can say thank you for that experience. Man, don't get me on a teaching about forgiveness, but until you can say to the person who did whatever, thank you, even if you never speak to them again, to say, I learned something from you, I grew up because of this. Until you can thank them, you're still victimized by them. If it's nothing but thank you because you showed me what I was made out of. Because if this had happened a year ago, I wouldn't have survived it. But you have given me a touchstone, and I see I've made some really impressive progress. So thank you. Thank you for that. As miserable as it was for me, thank you. That's why I even, there's an art to forgiveness. I've even told people, whether they send the letter or not, if there's somebody you need to forgive, write them a letter and say, I want to, and don't victimize yourself in it. Say, these are the things I learned from this terrible thing you did to me. And this is what I know I'm made out of now because of you. I had no idea what my superpowers were until you revealed them in me. That's when forgiveness, that's when it kicks in, is when you can finally say thank you. Oh, can somebody say amen, Oprah? All right. And number 5, Dr. Dispenza, I like to quote him. That's actually him up on the mountaintop. Something as simple as moving into an elevated state of joy, love, or gratitude for 5 to 10 minutes a day can produce significant epigenetic changes in our health and bodies. Epigenetics it's a science that says even things that are in your DNA can possibly be changed by the change. I mean, I don't want to argue with you about it. It's some people think that's not possible, that DNA is static and you can't. There's a lot of data that says, yeah, they're over a period of time there can be DNA changes. You're not even just trapped in your physicality. There are things that can change. That's for a whole other story. But his point is, before you can even get there, you got to start with gratitude, and gratitude is what takes what is and makes it that much better. I think I have 2 more memes I want to show you. This is Eckhart Tolle, who says, acknowledging the good that you already have in your life is the foundation for all abundance. It absolutely is. Look, I know Thanksgiving's got it, there's baggage with it. I know I know all the controversy. I'm talking about just the pure, I'm not talking about pilgrims and indigenous people. I'm talking about just the fact that there is a day set aside on the calendar that reminds everybody just be grateful. You don't exchange gifts. It's all about gratitude. Even the most unspiritual people in the world will still go around the table and say what you're grateful for. It's a wonderful exercise, and it's something you should do every day. Because I guarantee you, if you start counting the blessings, I promise you, the blessings so far outweigh any of the negative. I mean, you can keep griping about gas prices and watch gas prices go up, or you can say, well, I just thank God that this is going to get better, this too shall pass, and right now I have money to put gas in this car and a car to put it in. So instead of me just sitting around and griping about the same thing that everybody else is griping about, why am I not just grateful that there's gasoline available and I'm not having to wait in a long line like people do in some countries, have to wait hours just to fill up my tank. It's all the gas that I want. Amen? Oh, y'all got quiet on me on that one. Y'all like complaining. And then finally, Letitia Ray says, this is a simple statement but so profound. If you cannot find gratitude, you'll never find peace. And I completely believe that. Until you have an epiphany about gratitude, all the counseling in the world, all the therapy in the world, all the inner healing in the world, it's not going to do anything for you. Everybody in the world can counsel you and pray for you and try to cast stuff out of you. And you can stand in healing lines. You can do all of that. It's not going to change anything until the gratitude switch is clicked on. Paul writes to the Philippians and he says, in everything, with prayer and supplication, give thanks. in everything. Like even when you're praying for something, begin it with a gratitude. Don't just go right into, this is what I need, this is what I want. It's acknowledging what I already have. You know, I don't know if you've been to this place with God or not, but I got to this place with God some years ago. I realized I had been so blessed in my life that I know this sounds kind of unnecessary to say, but I remember saying in my prayer one day, I said, just so you know, you've been so over the top in blessing me. If you never did anything else for me from here on out, I'm good to go. I don't have enough time to thank you for all that you've already done. I know that sounds like an extreme statement, but buddy, if there is a God somewhere that blesses people, let me tell you something. Let me tell you what happens when you say that to him. He's like, you come here. You thought you had blessing. I'm going to bless you coming in. I'm going to bless you going out. You're blessed in the city. You're blessed in the country. You're blessed in the basket. You're blessed in the store. In the Hebrews, it says he will run you down and overtake you with blessings. Jesus said, men will give unto you good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Jehovah Rapha is the God who heals, but Jehovah Jireh is the God who provides, and El Shaddai is the God who's just too much. The God who's just over the top. The God who's like, this is too much. Last night, I'm assuming she paid me for a painting, or maybe she might have just paid, I don't know. But she paid me like twice what I normally would ask for a painting. And there was a time I would have just said, no, now that is too much. But you know what I said? Yay! It's a really good painting. You're going to love it. She hadn't even seen it yet. And I don't even know if that's payment for the painting. She just said, just because. I'm like, okay, yay! Because especially if you've been a giver all of your life, which I have been, at some point, you know, when a farmer keeps planting seeds, he can't argue with the ground if it's producing a crop. At some point, you got to say, oh, well, I planted these seeds. It's supposed to happen. So if you're going to be a cheerful giver, you better learn to be a cheerful receiver. And if somebody does something for you, stop insulting them and saying you shouldn't have. Yes, they should have. I used to have thank you, Avery, for clapping. I used to have a joke with my dad when he was, you know, still all there. But if he ever gave me money, I would always say, oh, thank you. I wish it could have been more. And he would laugh. Because that's what usually people will say when they give. Like, I'm giving something, I wish it could have been more. But he'd give to me, I'm like, oh, thanks, wish it could have been more. And he always thought that was funny. Because I was semi-serious. And, but it's not a matter of greed. It's a matter of just like, well, I don't want to block the blessings. If somebody wants to bless me, why am I arguing with them? I didn't ask for it. So if they want to do it, it's really inappropriate for me to argue with them about why they, you know, shouldn't. And if you're that way with people, all the more, whatever your image of God is, that's how you should believe that God is good and beneficent and loving and wants to bless you. It doesn't make sense any other way. Why would there be a God somewhere that creates a race of people that he just wants to punish and afflict all the time? That doesn't, like, why? Why would that, if God is love, I mean, if you love somebody, aren't you always thinking of one other thing you could do for them? Even if it doesn't involve money, it's just like, oh, I could do this. Because if you really love somebody, like even as something as simple as when I'm coming to a close. I did a wedding in Charlotte 2 weeks ago. And we had checked out of the hotel, and on the way, we were going to go see the guy's house that they had just built. And as we're going there, it's on Sunday, 2 weeks ago today, I said, wow, what is that building over there? That is so cool. And Ken says, oh, man, I totally forgot. This is where the headquarters for NASCAR is. And when we first met online, he had listed himself as a NASCAR fan. And when we did meet, I said, let me save us both some time. I'm never going to go watch cars ride around in a circle for 8 hours. And I don't want to take that away from you. And if that's really important, so for the nearly 11 years we've been together, on occasion I have said, because Kid knows, you can't believe what he knows about cars. We'll be driving on the expressway, and he'll go, oh, that's the new 2023 so-and-so. He knows all. I'm like, how do you know all this? He knows who's here. We drive into the parking lot. He says, oh, so-and-so's here today. He knows what y'all drive. I don't even know what I drive. I'm like, how do you know? How do you know this? And I know he loves, his dad ran a parts store, and he grew up playing this. So I know he knows all that, and it's real important to him. And I always felt bad, because now I'll go watch sports. I don't mind going to a football game, this and that, but watching cars ride around, that's never, ever going to happen. And I feel like, I'm an influencer. There's no way I could pretend like I enjoy it. Like I would, I'm just not that good an actor, and it's going to make you have a miserable time. So go with your brother or your buds from work or whatever, and it's fine. Well, he never has. So he said, oh, that's the NASCAR museum. And I said, well, find out if it's open, and we'll go. So he said, yeah, they're open to 5 o'clock. I said, well, let's go. He said, you want to go? I said, I want you to go. I'm going to go with you. So we go see the house, and we tell these guys, and they're like, one of them's dad was a NASCAR driver. He said, well, I've been wanting to go to that. Can we go with you? And we're like, yeah, sure. So we take the train, and we go, and I was so happy. I mean, it was cool. I mean, I'm interested in museums and how they put stuff together. It wasn't a miserable experience for me, but definitely not something I would have done on my own. But I was so happy for him. I don't know if you saw this picture, but he got in this car that was a simulator where he could simulate driving. And I took a picture, and his face was so lit up. I was like, this was so worth it just to see. I could tell he was like in heaven. And I didn't rush him to let's look at everything in here. It's fine. And I thought, I really love him because I want him to have this. Like, oh, I'm so glad this worked out, that you could have this experience. And I'm taking pictures, and so if anybody says, where's the NASCAR museum? I'm like, Charlotte, North Carolina, baby. I've already been there. But that's how you know. That's what love does. Love says, I'm so happy that you're happy. It doesn't matter if it's my thing or not. Now, if he wanted to go every weekend, I'd be like, I might sit the next one out. See it. See if James, one of them guys from work, wants to ride up there with you. But the other day, it was like, oh, this is wonderful that we could have this experience. That's what blessing does. And that's the way God is toward you. Amen? So I know, all right. I know that wasn't super deep, but it's where you live. Thank you. Thank you, sister. Let's all stand. And you know what? Before we do the outro, I want you to just think for a minute how blessed you are. Just how blessed you are to be in this room with people who you know and people who love you. And I'm so grateful. I know most of you do not live in this community, so the fact that you drive all the way here, I'm grateful that the Mooneyhams drove all the way up from Columbus. That makes me feel very honored. I don't take any of that for granted. I think, wow, this is important to you, and it's important to me. And so, just think about all that you have for which to be grateful. And just, if it feels right to you, just raise your hands and just honor your blessings. Honor gratitude. Honor the things you have to be thankful for. Count your blessings. Spirit of God, as the people stand here, I just pray that you'll make people aware of things they hadn't even thought of to be grateful for, and that they have an epiphany about it, and that even the things that we initially perceive to be negative, we take this exhortation from Paul and we celebrate always. We celebrate in the good times. We celebrate in the bad times. We celebrate when things seem to be going our way. We celebrate when they don't. We celebrate when we feel good. We celebrate when we don't feel good. We celebrate when we don't know how things are going to work out. We celebrate when it is worked out. For whatever the situation, we celebrate always. We rejoice evermore. This is a beautiful day. We're grateful for this day. We're grateful for the opportunities. We're grateful for the blessings. We thank you for it. In your name. Amen. Give God a praise in this place. Please remain standing, and we're going to run the outro, please.
Contributing to Metron is quick and easy. You can give anytime using any smartphone. Text the amount you would like to donate to 404-620-5044. You will then receive a notification that you successfully completed your donation. You may also visit bishopthenow.com and click the support tab to give there as well. When you contribute to Metron, you're also donating to the charity or organization of the month. Thank you for your investment into Metron.
If you have a check, just make it payable to JESM, and Danny will be back there to receive it. If you have cash, just pay it forward. Give it to Johnny. Or Love. Give it to him. He came and gave us part of his gift today. So if you had some cash you wanted to put in the offering today, nobody's going to put pass a plate around. So just give it to him, and I guarantee you he will take it. Didn't you enjoy that? Wasn't that beautiful? Y'all want to have him back? That was some good stuff. Seriously. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. Well, you are blessed. Have a beautiful day. I'll be back on streaming tomorrow night at 11:11, but I will see you back here on Sunday, December 4th. God bless you. Go in peace. The angel of the Lord encamps round about you to keep you in all your ways.